My name is Nick Malkiewicz, VP of Engineering at DTN. DTN is a data and analytics and technology company that enables confident decisions for our customers to improve their bottom line operations. So we're currently focused in three different sectors. So agriculture, energy, and weather. In fact, DTN is the largest private weather company in the world. We have a complex landscape. Look, over 150 different products, north of 300 engineers, and a veritable cornucopia of technology stacks, well over 20. So as you can imagine, we're highly motivated to make things modular and reusable. So we decided to build our own platform, but it turns out it's not that easy. It's difficult to define standards and best practices and inform and enforce those. It's arduous to connect typically disconnected functions such as data engineers, data scientists, and front-end engineers, and difficult to build connectors to a variety of different data ingestions. We found that we spent most of our time actually building the platform as opposed to building value for our customers on top of it. So we decided to evaluate third-party platforms, and well, big surprise, I'm on here on stage because Palantir won. But why did Palantir win? Well, we had a 3-day boot camp, and in those 3 days, we built a rudimentary demand forecasting application. Again, 3 days, very impressive. There's an ontology that we all know about, digital twin, powerful base layer that allows us to build that AI value on top of that for our customers. The pipeline builder democratizes everything from data ingestion, transformation, to making that data available via APIs and ontology objects. There's well over 200 connectors, everything from S3 buckets to ERP systems to Snowflake, you name it. We've got access to familiar tools like Jupyter Hub, RStudio Workbench, VS Code. And lastly, we have help from internal experts like Lucas, George, Miles, and Alexandra. You guys can pay me later for the shout out there. In 8 short weeks, 8 weeks, we started in September. Along with Palantir's help, we have built the first 3 modules in what we're calling our Fuel Hub. It's a dashboard, these 3 modules are, that are used in a fuel supplier's daily stand-up so that they can have actionable insights. So what I'm about to show you, you're gonna see mostly workshop front end, but there's a massive amount of pipeline building and data science that went on behind the scenes, which led to the creation of an ontology with well over hundreds of objects representing DTN's extensive domain experience in the downstream refined fuels industry. So let's take a look. So this first module is what we're calling a real-time stock view. It allows a supply manager the ability to avoid stock outages or overages. And we do so by providing alerts ahead of time so that those suppliers can move fuel between terminals and rack cities. So up top here, you're gonna see the alerts for stock outages and overages. Clicking on one is gonna open a modal and show historical supply versus demand at that terminal, as well as DTN's AI model forecasted the dashed lines, supply versus demand. Now we're leveraging Quiver here for the chart. And if you'll notice to the left of the map there, we have the ability to filter by rack city, terminal, or product. Doing so would update the map as well as the table below to show the results. In fact, the table below shows a list of all the terminals. Clicking on one brings up that same modal I showed before. Again, using Quiver there. Speaking of the table, actually, out of the box, as most of us know, you get column sorting, reordering, out of the box, again, free. Lastly, I want to show on this particular screen, in the alert date column, this data came back as an integer from the ontology object, which isn't very useful. So we decided to use a custom function in VS Code. We wrote some TypeScript to change that integer to something that's user-friendly. There you go, there's the TypeScript function that changed that to a date. Again, something usable for the user. All right, next module. This one is called Demand Insights. The idea here is to allow a price analyst, same thing, avoid stock outages or overages. Typically, this happens seasonally, right? During Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever holiday. So our solution is to provide historical and forecasted demand, taking into account things like weather, and show that at the terminal versus the entire market to help them with pricing. So up top, you're going to be able to filter on rack city, terminal, and product, and even a time window. And that top graph there shows rack city demand versus the overall market demand. And the bottom graph shows it for a specific terminal and a specific product. We leverage Quiver for both of these, and on the top there, we also use some custom functions in VS Code to make it a little more user-friendly. All right, last module, contract performance. This one's for a sales manager. And look, they want to have customers that are predictable because it makes forecasting easy. Nobody wants to have fuel sitting at the terminal. So what we decided to do here is give them a performance score, and we do so by showing allocation versus lifting patterns per customer. So up top, you're going to see a snapshot for the entire fuel supplier, all of their customers, their allocations versus liftings. And then under that, you can filter by retail customer, location, and product. So that table below is going to show all the allocations versus liftings, which contribute to that performance. Here's another place where we used column sorting. On this one, I think we also used right-click, there we go, context menu for exporting. That table widget has a lot of stuff right out of the box. On the right-hand side, you'll see the rateability column, and we used custom formatting for that in Workshop. And then lastly, dark mode. Our app actually isn't even in dark mode. Rob Fender, who's sitting right in front of me, just did that for me to match the look and feel of this demo. So quite easy to do. All right, so look, it's quite impressive what we've accomplished since, again, September. But don't take my word for it. A senior partner at McKinsey said this was the fastest replatforming that they've ever seen. In September, we went from 0 to 259 speed runs, to 150 weekly active users building, to 18 different data sources being ingested. In October, we ramped that to 120 sub-applications. We have a grain hub map rendering 8 million farmer objects, machine learning models in the Ontology. And then coming this month, we're going to be launching the fuel hub and the grain hub to limited availability. We have 264 builders on the platform. Very impressive. And then in the not so distant future, we've got DTN GPT. We're going to be automating our weather room tools, and we're going to be replacing Jira with an internal Foundry-based solution. So we're really excited about that. But it's not just about what we're building, right? Look, we bought the Ferrari, and now we're learning to drive it. We have enabled a culture that will move the needle with customers, one that values not being afraid to learn, having a passion around making customers successful, and a bias towards outcome for those customers. We have refined how we build software, in particular, how we reach product market fit. It's now possible to demonstrate value in the product versus talking about things in a slide deck or Figma prototypes. No more field of dreams, if you build it, they will come. We're actually building it right there with the customer, and it's amazing.